Hey everyone, it's been a while, so I hope you're all doing well. I've titled this video The Power of Media Through Manipulation, as after talking to a friend of mine about my experience, he quoted it and it really hit the nail on the head and resonated with me. So I've used it as my title. So maybe you've noticed I've been off YouTube for a while, so I want to apologise for this. But I have a bit of a story time for you which would explain my absence. 2019 was quite a bad year for me for many reasons which I can't go into now, but generally because of relationship issues. So in 2018, Erin and I were participants in a TV show called Sextape, which was about couples' ups and downs in relationships and about their sex lives. Then about 10 months ago in May 2019, the show was aired on Channel 4, which by the way is a national TV channel in the UK if you're an American subscriber. So if you're a UK subscriber, you may have watched it. The following is relating to mine and Erin's experience with the show and how it's affected us as a family ever since. It's not my proudest moment, I have to say. I feel a lot of embarrassment and shame. I don't like the way we were portrayed on the show, so I felt compelled to make this video. And I want to make it clear that it's not sympathy I'm looking for here, as I know Erin and I signed up for this. But I just want some kind of closure so I can put it all behind me and resume my YouTube channel. I'm seeing this as a kind of cathartic step to let out my feelings and hope it will be insightful to some of you. So it's a long one. Go grab yourselves a drink. Oh, also try and watch to the end as I have a little bonus clip for you. Morning guys, coming to you from the past, looking quite barefaced. Something quite exciting is happening which I'm about to share with you. Channel 4 contacted us about 2 months ago in April. We are now in June, it's now the 1st or the 2nd of June, to take part in a Channel 4 documentary about relationships. So we've had cameras in our house for the last week. Camera number 1, camera number 2, and then camera number 3. This camera is tiny. This is a setup. It's been rigged up on like a pressure mounted pole. This is wedged in between the floor and the ceiling, and this is a night vision cam. So all the cameras are coming down, and it's something I had to keep a secret. You're not really allowed to talk about it or anything, but once the show is aired, which it probably is now, coming to you from the past, I'm quite embarrassed really. I've never ever been on TV. Yeah, it'll be quite interesting. It's quite daunting. I've not seen the finished version yet. You've got to put yourself out there and step out of your comfort zone. And this is me like bearing all our relationship like on national television to millions. They're coming today to remove all the cameras and stuff so I can breathe again, but I'm really looking forward to it. We're doing this documentary with 3 other couples. I think there are many couples, but we've all been put into different groups, so it's probably going to be an hour show. That is that really. I'm nervous for you guys to see.
Unique experiments these brave couples film their sex lives to document what they get up to in the bedroom.
I get the idea now.
This is a good bit.
Who doesn't want better sex?
Say your foot. Did you hear the noises?
Oh my.
Hoping their advice can save their relationship.
He needs to adore this woman.
This is our last straw.
My husband has a fetish.
I like to be dominated.
It's a bad prank.
Oh my God!
Brand new sex tape, Friday the 26th of April.
God, we're in the park as well, and there's lots of dogs like coming along, and I'm a bit scared of dogs. I'm not massively scared, but you know, I will
don't communicate with animals, really.
Yeah. So like every time a dog comes close, I'm like, oh, Aaron. There was a big Rottweiler, wasn't there, about 5 minutes ago? But anyway, you know, this one's a sweet Labrador, but you can just stay over there.
Sorry, can you come do that again?
Why? What are you up to?
Nothing.
Make me a really long daisy chain. Well, so here we are. That again. Because you're here, it's making me feel strange. Yeah. Anyway, yeah. Hello, my darling. I'm just going to get straight into it. So.
It's twice now.
Oh well, I can edit that out, innit?
Or leave
Innit? Yeah. It makes the relationship quite
Anyone else?
challenging. Anyone else in the relationship? No, just me and you. No love triangles
No,
here.
but,
the number for someone that we recommend, like a private. Sorry, that noise. I keep thinking there's wasps behind me. But yeah, so anyway, Aaron come back. Aaron, to have any kind of couples therapy or counselling would be about £60 per hour, which we just don't have that kind of disposable income or anything. Oh, this is hard enough. I'm in an hour. I don't mind, but just wait till we're further on in the video, because I'm just trying to get into a flow. Oh, fly. Oh, Saya, don't run. Just sit there. Oh, it's a little whippet.
Says everything. Sounds like blue. Say hello, Sam.
Ah. Hello. Hello. Oh. Oh. Oh, she's just like blue.
She's a little bit he.
He? Oh,
Yeah,
he.
he's got them.
Oh, he's doing a little wee wee. That's nice. That's all right. Oh, there's another little doggy. Oh, look, it's a little stuffy. Hello.
She was checking out what you're up to.
Yes. She just thought, yeah, no food there. She's making. Hello. Oh, is she all right?
Yeah,
Was she?
she's really just puffed out. That's why she makes a noise. Chasing the ball in the sun's not good.
Oh, I think that's going to be happening quite a lot. Hi guys, I'm at home in my PJs now, so I'm going to do a voiceover for the rest of the video. There was a lot of background noise at the park, and the point I was trying to get across wasn't as concise as I had hoped. As you saw, we kept being approached by dogs, and there were a lot of annoying bugs flying around and yada yada yada. So yep, I hope that's okay. Just imagine you're listening to a podcast or the radio. So I was too tempted to go on Twitter. Oh, by the way, feel free to pause this part of the video to read some of the threads I screenshotted. But yeah, basically, I was tempted to go on Twitter, even though we were advised to temporarily suspend all our social media platforms just for our own protection. But it was too tempting to read the live commentary about the show. And it was a hot topic. Most comments about us were understanding and supporting, but some comments were not so nice and hurtful. I think each couple had a fair share of digs here and there, to be fair. But why would you take part in a show like that? So, just to give you a bit of background, Aaron was diagnosed with Asperger's syndrome when he was 10 years old, and our two kids, Elijah and Ashton, have also been diagnosed with the same disability. As a side note, I'm also currently on a waiting list for an assessment myself, as I have some social difficulties and anxiety. Basically, in a nutshell, we live in a very volatile environment most days because Aaron and I conflict with our opinions of what we think is wrong and right. After seeking couples therapy via the NHS, the GP told us that the joint therapy was not available under the NHS, and she then handed us a number to call for private couples therapy. We called the number and discovered that at £60 per hour, we weren't in a financial position to afford therapy. So we thought our luck was in when the show approached us a few weeks later. It was almost like the universe was listening to us. We thought it was perfect timing and really believed that with the relationship counselling the show were offering us, we could rectify some of our problems. The show. A production company contacted us via email after watching one of our YouTube videos. They gave us a sweet talk saying we were a lovely couple and thought that we would make good viewing as we both are really relatable as a couple. I answered questions that were asked of us openly and honestly. I really did believe that in order for the therapy to work, we had to be completely transparent with the producers. So where an argument would naturally happen, rather than stopping it, we just went along with it in order to expose what would naturally happen. That way the psychologist could study our interaction and give us advice where needed. But it's only now that I realise a lot of the footage which was captured in our home was probably just skimmed through or maybe not even watched at all by the psychologist. She probably watched the bare minimum in order to make that section of the shared therapy sessions for TV. The fact that I wore my heart on my sleeve was all in vain. So, as I said in the clip before, the cameras were in our house for a week, and we were also given a little vlogging camera to capture good and bad moments while out and about. Private areas like the kids' bedrooms and bathrooms were not filmed, and they asked the kids for their permission to be aired and made sure they felt comfortable with everything. But it was also the unknown to us all. And bear in mind, our kids want mum and dad to be together and to fix our problems. So I suppose to them the show was a positive thing. And now I feel like my kids have been deceived too, really. The casting scout and producer told us on a number of occasions that they realised the title Sextape is a sensationalised one, but it probably will be changed. So we continued the process with this in mind. But in hindsight, they had no intention of changing the name. They just wanted their captive audience, but had little care for our well-being. Anyway, after a week, all the cameras were packed down, and I felt like I could breathe again, as the cameras were a bit intrusive. A few weeks passed, then we were called to meet and film in a beautiful hired house in Richmond, where the group therapy would take place. We were filmed all day with short breaks in between and was offered basic food and drink, like sandwiches and stuff. Later in the day, we met the other two couples, Sabrina and Mike, and Kemi and Dan, and then the celebrity psychologist, Angela Matanda. We watched and made comments about each other's tapes, with some advice here and there from Angela. And that was a strange, surreal and uncomfortable moment for us all, because these couples were getting jiggy and it was vocal and we were watching it with the couples right there. There was a lot of uncomfortable giggling and eye covering at that point. But it was at that point that I realised this style of group therapy wasn't going to be beneficial. In hindsight, the show was just a bit of fun for couples who have minor relationship issues, who would also like to be on TV for the experience. We thought a lot of the individual problems we discussed with the producers would be aired and tackled, so the viewer would have a greater understanding of the dynamics in our home and in turn get a comprehensive understanding of the issues we were having. But instead, those clips were cut out and they focused on one specific thing, which didn't put us across in a good light. When the producers asked if I enjoyed the experience, I was honest with them and explained that the therapy was not what I had hoped it would be because of the shared time. I felt that, 7 years of complex problems wasn't going to be resolved in an hour's show. She then said that Angela could call me in a few days for a further chat, and so she did. And in that phone conversation, I said that we probably would need counselling from someone who counsels couples where one or both people are on the autistic spectrum, other than a run-of-the-mill counsellor for neurotypicals. She then gave us a number and website for an organisation called Action for Asperger's. But I later discovered that they also had expensive fees that we couldn't afford. Now the sex. It didn't happen. It's something that I swore I wouldn't do on national telly in fear of my mum watching it, because I know she would say it's a shameful thing to be involved in. Some things should be kept private, so they weren't going to get sex out of Aaron and I on national television. So, fingers up to them for that. I have to admit I'm feeling smug about that. Sex is the one thing that I held sacred from them. What they dressed up as therapy. Therapy was minimal. They gave us booze so we could loosen up a bit and talk freely. I feel like I've given them my private life to air on national TV with nothing positive to gain from the experience. It does sadden me to think how gullible I was. I let these producers and crew from STV into my home. They asked us very specific questions with wide eyes and such eagerness to get info out of us for their show. In hindsight, I wish I'd just kept some things to myself. One of their requests was, it just sounds so ridiculous, but they asked that I lead Aaron up the stairs while holding his hand, and then they wanted him to pull my pants down, even though I had told them at the time that we were barely on speaking terms. So I replied with a firm, I'm not prepared to do that. This was written in a text message, by the way. I said my problems are not a joke. And it did sound like at that point that it sounded like they were making a laughing stock out of my failing relationship. The aftermath and backlash of Sextape. More recently, social services were contacted by a teacher at my son's secondary school as they saw Aaron and I on the adverts leading up to the show, and took it upon themselves to get social services involved as a precaution to protect our kids from any bullying from fallout after the show. So it seems like they had my children's best interests at heart, but it was only at that moment to cover themselves. I feel that my boys have been given minimal support as special needs kids throughout their school lives, which is an entirely different topic, but as we were part of a show, they suddenly wanted to jump on the bandwagon and support my boys should there be any repercussions from the show. So that left me a bit frustrated and confused as we were given a bit of a grilling. 2 separate meetings took place at my son's schools, where the deputy head from my daughter's school attended, as well as the boys' head teacher, a family support officer, and the head of social services. I have to say I felt quite humiliated in their presence under these circumstances. I certainly felt like we were having our wrists slapped. With their lines of questioning and discouragement from appearing in any TV shows in future, they made us feel like the world's worst parents, when everything we try and do is for our kids at the end of the day. Aaron's job loss. Aaron unfortunately lost his job as a judo instructor from a school because of his involvement with the show. The head teacher said he had watched the show and didn't want to have to answer questions that parents might ask relating to the show. So Aaron was replaced. And I feel a lot of guilt, to be fair. There's a lot of guilt on my part for his job loss, because most people on the spectrum have a special interest. Judo is Aaron's special interest, and he agreed to do the show in the hope of therapy, but also to possibly use the show as a catalyst to grow my YouTube channel. Aaron had been eager for me to pursue YouTube and has been quite supportive of it. So I'm so gutted for him and the impact that it's having on our family, emotionally and financially. To be honest, the repercussions of being involved in a show like that was not explained to us. Aaron and I have done nothing illegal, but yet I feel like a criminal, if you know what I mean. My feelings. It's been an emotional roller coaster. More problems seem to manifest instead of get better. I changed the pattern of my whereabouts as I tried to keep a low profile with my neighbours. My daughter's school runs. Like, for example, Saya walks down to the car at home time now rather than me going into the school playground for pickup. It's affected my self-esteem. I was fearful. I felt paranoid. Every time a stranger smiled at me, I thought they were laughing at me. I feel humiliated and manipulated. I think there is some emotional abuse there on their part because they were misleading us all. And it would be good if they held some accountability for that. In hindsight, I think we should have been explained to about the protocol, all the implications that could arise from our children's schools and the authorities. After speaking to one of the production team, she said she had been scouting people for TV for 20 years. So with her years of experience, I'm baffled how she didn't explain about what could possibly happen with child welfare if we had children of school age. Because of the children's school's involvement, Aaron and I had to relive the experience again through talking to social services and the teachers. I wanted to sweep our experience under a rug, but it kept on cropping up and biting us on the bum. You live and you learn, I suppose, but I just wanted to share this video to shed some light on how media have these shows only for their own gain. We were not paid to share such intimate details, but was given a very small disturbance fee in return and promise of couples therapy, which fell on deaf ears. Being open and honest with them was all in vain, with only the show making money out of what we shared with them, and then for Aaron to lose his job and suffer financial hardship with no repercussions at all for them. Their money is their viewers, and in light of recent events such as Love Island and the Jeremy Kyle show with participants taking their own lives, I do feel media laws and how people are treated and manipulated on these TV shows needs to be reviewed. Sextape has changed our lives for the worse. Nothing positive has come out of the experience, to be fair, other than raising autism awareness to a small extent. Involvement with the show is very regrettable for reasons I never imagined at all. But it's time to move on, you know. So anyway, thanks for watching, and I hope this video has been insightful for some of you and given you some things to think about if you ever have the opportunity to take part in a reality TV show. Feel free to share my video and to make others aware of media manipulation. Hit the like button if you found this useful, and please subscribe if you are here for the first time. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you here on my channel soon. Take care. Bye. If you've made it to the end of the video, here is your bonus bit. There's tears. God, it's so cringy. But it's this bit that got people confused and laughing at Erin's reaction to me crying. I didn't even think anything of it, to be honest, until people started tweeting about it, because it's a small thing in the bigger picture of Erin's challenges. But we both find the commotion over this quite amusing.
You actually forget, like, how you start your relationship, like, you know, you don't really value yourself anymore.
I'm really struggling with, like, you know, like being a housewife and being a mum, and I just feel really like undervalued and just like not appreciated. The arguments have been so much and we're not getting on very well. But I want to exhaust everything really before I give up on us. I just feel so exhausted, and I don't like myself. I don't like who I am. I don't know. I don't know. I'm just so tired of arguing.
I think that there's a lot of pressure on your relationship with 3 children, you know, there's challenges on that, and you both need time as individuals and as a couple.
We should be each other's thing that we cherish, and the kids should be what we cherish.
I think there's a lot of love there, and there's compassion, and there's friendship, all good ingredients for a good relationship. Do you hear me, is what you're both saying. Do you hear me? Do you hear what I need? So could you practice some of that and see how it goes?
Georgina and Aaron need to think about their priorities, what's important to them in their relationship, and really decide, are they willing to put the effort in?
Bring it down. Come on. Slow down.